Recording in progress.
Here we go. Let's see, we're missing. Bill. It's that time. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Thursday, March 12th, Metropolitan Planning Commission. We are going to start out with our opening announcements.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission and the Board will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
And thank you. Next agenda item is our roll call. Director Radel.
Yes, sir. Fry is absent. Mater? Here. McKay? Here. Duell is absent. Bill Johnson? Here. High is absent. We have a vacant seat. Klontz? Here. Warren? Here. Joe Johnson is absent. Miles? Present. Zimbelman? Here. Aldrich?
Here.
Williams Bay. Sir, I show 9 members are present.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move to our elections. This is a time for our annual elections. So we will be nominating, excuse me, the new chair and vice chair. So at this time, I will open up the nominations for MAPC chair.
I'd like to nominate Bob Aldridge.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in support of, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try to do the best job I possibly can. And I know everybody will be keeping an eye on me, so I don't blame you. The next agenda item would be for the MAPC vice chair, and I would like to nominate Tony Zibelman as vice chair.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Commissioner Zibelman, the new vice chair. Now what we're going to do is go through the agenda. At this point, we normally would have the minutes for the February 26th. They have been deferred until March 26th, so we will not have any minutes. We're going to go through the agenda at this point to see what items we can consider for take on the consent, sorry. We will first go through the subdivision items that were recommended by the subdivision committee. First item is 2.1, subdivision 20025-00058. This is a plat at approximately 21st Street West Addition, 21st Street North and 151st Street. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Anyone from the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that like to hear this case? We will take 2.1 on consent. Next item is 2.2 subdivision regulation, or excuse me, subdivision 20025-00062. This is also a final plat, Greenwoods Heights Edition, approximately located Greenwich Road and 37th Street North. Is there anyone from the Planning Commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.2 on consent. Next agenda item is 2.3, subdivision 202600002. This was deferred from February 26th. It's a one-step final plat, Cottonwood Estates, approximately west 87th Street, south and south 103rd Street in the county. Is there anyone from the Planning Commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is anyone from the public like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.3 on consent. Next agenda item is 2.4, subdivision 200260007, one set final plat of the Falcon Falls East Addition, approximately North Hillside Avenue and 53rd Street. Is there anyone from the commission that'd like to hear this case? Anyone from the public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take 2.4 on consent. Next agenda item, 2.5, that has been deferred to March 26th. So if there's anybody here to hear that case, they're going to bring it back on March 26th. Next agenda item is 2.6, subdivision 200260009, one-step final plat, Foliage 5th Edition. Approximate location is north of East 13th Street North, a quarter mile of North Webb Road in the city. Anybody like to hear that case from the commission? Seeing none, is anybody from the public would like to hear that case? Seeing none, we will put that on the consent agenda.
Move to approve items 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.6.
We have a motion and a second. All supportive of that signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Now we will move to the public hearing, vacation items on the agenda. The first one is 3.1, which is a vacation 2025-00056. Approximate location on that is West 16th Street North, North Meridian Avenue. Is there anyone from the Planning Commission that would like to hear that case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? We have a couple of people want to hear that, so we will be hearing 3.1. Next agenda item, 3.2.
Sir, if I could, we've heard from planning staff that the applicant or agent aren't able to make the meeting.
And that was 3.1.
On 3.1, we do have individuals here today that were not here at the subdivision committee last week, providing additional public comment. We're consulting with law and kind of what the next steps are. I think for now, maybe go through the rest of the consent items and we can circle
Come
back.
to 3.1.
Yep.
Okay. 3.2 has been deferred to April 9th. So if there's anybody here that to hear 3.2, which is a vacation 2026-0002, again, that's been deferred to the April the 9th. Next agenda item is 3.3, which is vacation 2026-00003. That is the South Fork Air Park plat. Approximate location is West 39th Street South and 391st Street West. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear that case? Seeing none, is anyone from the public would like to hear that case? Seeing none, we will have 3.3 on the consent. Do we have a motion for?
Move to approve agenda item 3.3.
We have a motion and a second. For all that's in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next agenda items, we'll be going through the public hearing to see which ones of those cases can be taken on consent. 4.1, we've heard before, but it was sent back from the county commissioners. So we will be hearing 4.1. The next agenda item, first of all, on 4.1 is the agent applicants here? Okay, good. 4.2 is conditional use 2026 -00011. Approximate location on this is a quarter-mile west of Harry and South Bond Avenue. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Anyone from the general public like to hear this case? If not, we can take 4.2 on consent. Next item is 4.3. That's a conditional use 2026-00023. This item has been deferred to May 14th, 2026. So if anybody was here to hear that case, again, it's been deferred to May 14th.
Mr. Chair, that is a staff recommendation that it be deferred. It actually has not been deferred.
Oh, okay.
Per our review of it, we still need to hear it. It'd be good that we actually hear it, but the staff recommendation is for deferral, but it would be good for the commission to discuss.
Okay. We will be hearing 4.3. The next agenda item, 4.4, which is zoning case 2026-0002, that has been moved to March 26th. So we, anybody here that here to hear 4-4, that zone case will, again, has been moved to March 26th. Next agenda item is 4.5, zoning 2026-0003. That is a PUD. Approximate location is North Greenwich Road, within a quarter mile of East 37th Street. Is there anyone on the commission would like to hear 4.5? Is there anyone from the general public would like to hear 4.5? Seeing none, we will put 4.5 on the consent. The next two agenda items, 4.6, which is Unified Zone Code Amendment, and also the 4.7, which is Comprehensive Plan Amendments. We will be hearing both of those. Do we have a motion for any of the consent agenda items?
Move to approve agenda items 4.2 and 4.5.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Those have passed. And I believe that is it. Now we will go back. We will, did I miss one?
We're gonna recess to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Right, I was going to, we're going to be adjourning the public items, and now we're going to be going to hear the BOZ cases. And the first item on that would be to approve the minutes from February 26th. Have everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All supporters signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Also, the BZA 2026-0001, staff has made comments, their recommendation that it meets all 5 of the criterias. So if the planning commission would like to hear this case, we can. Otherwise, we can determine that it has met the 5 criteria and put it on a consent if that's the wishes of the planning commission.
It would also be good to ask if there's any public comment.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anyone from the planning commission that would like to hear this case? Anyone from the public would like to hear this case? Seeing none,
Move to approve.
we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the BZA 2026-0001 and the recommendation that it does meet all 5 criteria. All signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we will be going back to the public agenda. And the first case that we'll be hearing will be 4.1.
3.1, sir.
Or excuse me, 3.1, excuse me.
And planning staff is having a discussion with those with wanting to provide public comment in the hall, determining where they reside, because depending on where they reside will impact what state statute says about vacation items. So we might just hang on a second. Does that work for you, Jenna?
Yes.
Okay, legal says yes.
Okay, so where are we at here? Does staff want to give a report on this, or? Do it? They, I know.
Sir, I guess there could be a motion to move this to the another part of the agenda and move up an item if we wanted to keep things going. We could move on to 4.1 if the board wanted to essentially hear something out of order and then come back to this one just for the sake of time.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and move that down on the agenda, and then we'll just go to the public hearing item.
Sure, we'll circle back after the next item.
Sounds good.
Just, Kirk Sponsel, Deputy County Counselor, just as a sake of formality, if we could do it through a motion, just move to take the items out of order, I would
Okay.
appreciate it.
I move that we take items out of order and move 3.1 to where?
To after 4.1?
To after 4.1. Yes, exactly that.
We have a motion and a second. All those supportive signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So we will be moving 3.1 to somewhere after 4.1. So now we will go to the public agenda, 4.1, zoning case 2025. And again, the agent and applicant is here. Okay.
Good afternoon, Philip Zievenbergen on behalf of Samuel Dietz, because he's talking about the previous case as well out of this room. So I will present the staff report for this afternoon for ZON 2025-57. It is a zone change request in the county from rural residential to SF20 on a 25.14 acre property generally located on the south side of West 21st Street North within a half mile west of North 263rd Street West. On December 18th, 2026, the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission recommended approval of the applicant's request, which is a request to just SF20 by a 9-1 vote. 4 members of the public spoke in opposition to the request. The primary concerns at that meeting that were voiced were availability of water, lack of adequate drainage, and loss of agricultural land. On February 4th, 2026, the Sedgwick County Board of County Commissioners heard the case, and the result of their meeting was to send it back to the Planning Commission, which is why we're hearing it again today. In their motion to send it, they had to provide essentially tracks for you guys to run on for consideration in today's meeting. And they recommend you guys consider the possibility of applying a protective overlay, limiting the intensity of the development on the site, and the consideration of quantity and quality of water. Staff does have a recommendation for a protective overlay with today's meeting, so that is a change from our recommendation from the very first time that you've heard it. Following the BOCC meeting, planning staff requested information regarding the provision of water. At the time of publication of the staff report, staff did not receive any additional information from the applicant or agent, so we can hear from them today during their time of testimony. Since the original submittal, the applicant also had submitted a plat and a drainage plan for the subject site. The platter's text also restricts the site to 12 lots at a maximum. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the rest of it, just because we're here to consider the additional information that the BOCC wanted to consider. I'm going to move ahead to the staff recommended protective overlay. This would be protective overlay 474. It is in the recommendation section of your staff report. It would have 3 items to it. One, capping the maximum lots at 12, so they could not develop more than 12 lots. So that actually matches the plat, but it would then provide a level of oversight on the zoning as well. It also would limit any future lot splits. So even if a plat were to plat 12 lots, they could come in, property owners could come in and split their lots in the future. But this protective overlay would prevent any future lot splits. Number 2 would be minimum lot size would be no less than 1.5 acres. This gives flexibility for the plat to have varying sizes of lots and not necessarily have to have them all equal sizes, but also maintaining a fairly considerable lot size, which is significantly greater than what SF20 would allow, which could get you down to 20,000 square feet. So it still allows for larger lot sizes than what could be allowed in SF20. And then finally, the third bullet would be no more than 1 dwelling unit shall be allowed per lot. Something that came up in discussion at the Board of County Commissioners was concerns about any possible future accessory apartments, all of which would require conditional use and come before the board at this time to be allowed. But this prevents any accessory apartments from being allowed. 1, they would have to do a conditional use application. And number 2, they would then also have to amend the protective overlay. So there's a couple levels of restriction on that. And if at time the zoning code were to change regarding accessory apartments to where they don't need zoning action, this would require them to have a zoning action in order to allow it in the future as well. So it's kind of protecting the lots in the future if accessory apartments become a by right thing in the county. So all of that to say, that's what we have for your consideration. Is that the rest of the staff report is essentially unchanged, and I can stand for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Warren?
Where did the consideration for no more than 12 units and eliminating the possibility of a auxiliary, where did that come from?
Out of the Board of County Commission's discussion regarding the question about the availability and quantity of water, the idea was to limit the intensity of the development being out in the county, knowing it's all on well water. And from the very beginning of this case, when the first application was submitted, the applicant was discussing how their desire was to only develop 12 lots. And so that informed the discussion from there to say, well, if they're only intending on developing 12 lots, initially, the recommendation from the Planning Commission was just straight up SF20 with no protective overlay, which would allow a plat to come in that had smaller lot sizes, and you could get possibly 16, 18, maybe 20 lots in there. And so the Board of County Commissioners' desire with us considering a protective overlay was if the applicant's intent was to do 12 lots, let's just only allow them to do 12 lots. And then when it comes to the restriction of accessory apartments, again, it was essentially looking to limit the intensity with the consideration and possible questioning of the availability and quality of water.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for staff? Seeing none, is the agent or applicant here? Sir, you have 10 minutes.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Garber with Garber Surveying Service, 2908 North Plum Street in Hutchinson and 544 West Douglas in Wichita, on behalf of the applicant. We are in agreement with the protective overlay that has been recommended by the staff. And that was our thought from the beginning, that it would only be 12 lots. So we're in complete agreement with that. The well drilling, the report was sent to one of the staff, but apparently not distributed through all of the staff. And so on February 2, Wenninger Drilling put down a test well out there on the site. And they found adequate water, 20 gallons per minute that it tested. And so we believe it's adequate water for 12 lots out there. I would stand for any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? I have a question. You said that you did a test well out there.
Yes.
Was that actually on this property or
Yes.
was that on?
It's on this property.
And it was found to have, do you have any reports or any documentation on that?
Yes, I do. And that's been sent to Tim Wagner and Greg Sharon. But I have one if you want to look at it.
Okay. Any additional comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the general public who would like to speak on this item? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Brian Wetta, 2855 North, 263rd Street West, Andale. Own the property straight north of the current zoning request. Just a few things, I guess. I mean, I spoke the last time I was here. I have the same concerns, and primarily it's about groundwater and runoff water, both. I appreciate what you guys have done with this protective overlay. I think that's a good first step. I'm in agreement with that. However, when it came back from the county commissions, I was at the county commission meeting, and they gave 2 reasons for denying or to bringing it back here. It was to consider the protective overlay and the consideration of the quantity and quality of water. And from what I just heard, you guys have not considered that at all until the previous speaker just spoke. So that hasn't been studied. I would encourage you to further study that and to table this until later. Last time the speaker told us that he had tested this property, and obviously that was false because they finally did it on February 2nd. So I guess I would like to see the results. I would like to know for sure that that's enough water. How long did they test it? Is it adequate for testing? Did they just punch the well and get 20 gallons of water and that was good enough? Or did they run it for hours like they're supposed to stress test that well to see if it can actually support 12 homes? And again, I will state that it's not just 12 homes. There's homes that are being built currently to the east. My brother has a home right across the road. I've got neighbors that have wells just in the vicinity, Kevin and Michael, and then I just live a mile north of there. And so all of these additional homes stress that groundwater. And when you go through 3 years of drought, and I'm a farmer, which we just did in 22, 23, and 24, and I have wells that were struggling during that three-year drought, and the city of Water darn near ran out of water with Cheney Lake. You can see why I'm concerned about 12 additional homes in this neighborhood. In your comments also, it talks about the low intensity nature of the development. Maybe that's low intensity to you guys, but for us in a rural setting, 12 homes is a lot. And I think, again, planning for the future, I just see more and more of these developments pop up, and it just puts more and more stress on an infrastructure that's not there. Roads infrastructure is not there, water infrastructure is not there, sewage infrastructure is not there, emergency services isn't there, township services aren't there. They're all going to be stressed if we keep approving all of these zoning requests. Again, Brian Wetta, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium. Please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes, sir.
I'm Michael Meese. I live at 27400 West 21st Street North, across the road from this. Again, I'm going to reiterate the concern. The first time he came here, he told us that he drilled a test well. That was a lie, and I told you at that time it was a lie. He did, however, come 2 days before they met with the commissioners, and they did drill a well. I have since talked to a buddy of mine that owns a well drilling business, and he states that if you're really going to find out what the quantity of water is, you're going to run it for 10 to 12 hours to know what kind of quantity of water you're going to have there. You're going to find out your drain down. So that's something that I request that they do to find out if there is really enough water, because if you have 12 people taking showers at the same time, that's a lot of water to be running. And not only that, the neighbor's doing it too. I have also talked to the chairman of Garden Plain Township. He couldn't be here because he's getting things ready for the data center argument this coming Friday in front of the commissioners. He says that the addition of these housing additions puts so much stress on the township. He states that it costs them less to maintaining 1 mile of road than it does to do this whole town or this whole housing addition, which isn't a quarter mile of road at best. He says it costs me more to do that than it does to maintain a full road. So again, it's just, as Brian stated, it's the stress that you put on our townships, our electrical, on the water, the sewer. He also stated that there's an addition off of Highway 54 or 400 that started out as a nice addition that had X amount of houses on it. Their sewer got so backed up in the ground that they had to start pumping it out, and then finally it got connected to City of Wichita water, or sewer system rather. So you're going to put that much more stress on us, and then down the road, it's gonna cost you more because now you're gonna have to put sewer or water there to them. So I just don't understand why we want to condone this type of, growth instead of growing our cities bigger. We've got Garden Plain, we got Andale, we got Colwich that are looking to grow. Let them grow. We don't need to be growing out across the great state of Kansas where we're growing some of the best farm ground here in the state of Kansas is right here in Sedgwick County. So that's really all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Any questions? Excuse me.
Sir, could you point out your property using the mouse on the map?
My property right there. Right here. So I'm right across the road from it.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Zimmerman?
I guess I probably know the answer to this question, but is there any rural water available anywhere near this plat of land?
Not to my knowledge. The closest rural water would be, Garden Plain, I think would be the closest water. And that's, 5 to 6 miles away. And it would be about the equivalent. So, no, there's not anything that's that close. And again, that's what drives away your feasibility. If you have to start supplying water from those towns, what's your expense gonna be there? It all comes down to dollars and cents, man.
Okay. Sir, appreciate your comments. Are there any additional questions or comments for the commissioners? Seeing none, is there anybody else that'd like to speak on this matter? Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on the matter? If not, we will bring it back to the agent or applicant for rebuttal.
I think I was accused of lying at the last meeting, and I believe in that original presentation, we stated that the test wells were on the adjacent property to the east. The developer had previously developed, just recently, Flatland 1 addition just to the east, which are these lots right here. And he had a well drilled there, and then the well driller provided several other reports from wells that he had in the area. And I don't even know exactly where those were, but I think they were further west. And so if anyone thought that I said the test well was on this property at the last meeting, that would have been a misunderstanding. I think you were handed a draft of the well report. The depth of the well that was drilled February 2 is 120 feet deep, and the static water level is at 14 feet. They stated in their letter, based on their professional expertise, they went ahead and developed the well, and they then tested it for a couple of hours, and it maintained 20 gallons per minute with no issues. And that's the well driller's report. I would stand for any further questions.
Any additional questions or comments from the commission?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we'll bring this back to the commission. What is your pleasure? Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, since this come back from the county and they requested an overlay, the agent has agreed to the overlay, also dug a well. I move to approve and send it back to the county commission.
We have a motion and a second. Illegal?
Kirk Sponson, Deputy County Councilor, that approval includes the protective overlay you mentioned, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion for approval, which does include the protective overlay, to send it back to the county commission. We have a second. Is there, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We had 9-1, is that right? excuse me. I went to public school, sorry. Motion passed 8-1. Next agenda item that we have is going back to the 3.1 is, do we have the agent or applicant here now on that, or?
No, sir, I don't believe that we do.
So you want to keep kicking the can down the road on that, or?
Well, in the past, and I'll look to legal to correct me if this is wrong, but in the past, you've had the option to accept the public comments if you wish, but not take action on it, so that those can be entered in as part of the record, or you've always got the option to just defer the case to the next meeting or to a date certain later on.
Okay, well, we do have, how many people want to speak on this? Please raise your hand. We have a few people that are here that take their time out of their day, so I think we should at least go ahead and hear their public comments on this.
Jenna Morgan, City of Wichita Law. If we are going to hear public comment, it would be best practice to have the presentation done as well.
To ask questions?
To have the presentation done
Yeah,
as well.
Okay. All right, is there somebody here from staff that can? You're on the hot seat. And I do want to note also that subdivision did approve this 4-0.
Good afternoon. Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Vacation 2025-00056 is a request to vacate a 66 by 30 foot portion of right-of-way on the north side of West 16th Street North, west of North St. Paul Avenue. The applicants had originally intended to vacate the entire 264-foot portion of right-of-way. This was later modified prior to the last subdivision committee meeting to the current 66 feet. If we could just go to the revised vacation exhibit, please. So here you can see that northern 66-foot portion of right-of-way. The reasoning for this was that Public Works and Utilities did not support vacating the entirety of the right-of-way. There were also a number of requirements that the applicants would have needed to complete in order to vacate the entire right-of-way, which was not possible. Therefore, they requested only this northern 66-foot portion. The case was originally heard January 8th, later moved, as I mentioned, to March 5th. Part of the other reason for this change was that they would need to dedicate access to the adjacent properties, which would be denied access if the entire right-of-way was vacated. This includes that northern property right up here. So in order to grant the request, Public Works requires an access easement as well as a utility easement and modifications to the water line and water meter in the area. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for staff on this? Yes, Director Waito.
Yeah, Sam, using the cursor, can you just put the arrow over the property that the applicant owns, please?
The applicant owns Lot 2 and Lot 1 of the Watt addition.
Okay, fantastic. And then as part of the subdivision committee discussion, did they hear from the property owner immediately to the west of the revised application?
So from my understanding, the property owner here was at the subdivision committee meeting but had to leave early. He was okay with the vacation. We've had a couple other property owners that do not support the vacation.
Thank you.
Now, again, the only portion of that looks like it wants to be vacated would be just that 30-foot by 60-foot, right? That's in the red, correct?
That's what the application has been revised to.
Okay. Since the agent, does anybody have any additional questions for staff? If not, since the agent, the applicant's not here, we'll go ahead and move over to the people that like to speak on this. If you would come up to the podium and state your name and address, you have 3 minutes each.
Just real quick, Jenna Morgan, City Legal, if the public speaks today, I just would like it noted that they will not be able to speak next time when the date comes.
Is that, for those who want to speak, did you hear that and understand that? Okay, if you speak today on this, you will not be able to speak when it comes up again. Yes.
If I
You're only going to have one opportunity.
Just
No.
for clarification's sake, what would happen is we would be holding the public portion of for this hearing today, and then when it is called next time, just the applicant will speak. So there will be no chance for public speaking that time because it will be done today. Correct, yeah. So to address it today and the next time as well. You would just speak once.
So if I'm quiet, she speaks, then I can speak at the next time.
Okay. Okay, so if anybody would like to speak on this now, please come to the podium, and you have 3 minutes, but just remember, when the case comes back up again, you will not be able to be allowed to speak. Okay, please.
I have a question, Steve. Pardon me. That's just the people that's here today. That doesn't affect anybody else that's not here that wants to speak the next meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am, please state your name and your address, and you might have to pull the mic down a little closer.
I
There you go.
tried a
Thank you.
little. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sharon Wright, address 1735 North St. Paul, Wichita, Kansas, 67203. And I am here just as a concerned citizen. My property is 2 lots to the north of this revised area. I have several concerns. One is the access to the backyards along that whole line to 17th Street, the effect it will have on utilities, and if there's any zoning changes that are being considered in the future at all. First of all, the access to the backyard is, I don't care where they put the gate, the new owners are planning to put a gate so that nobody would have access through there. So I don't care whether they put it on 16th Street or up down to the end of their property or what. I still am not able to get to my backyard, even to the easements. I could not get a fire truck back there. I could not get a tree trimmer truck back there. I could not get any kind of equipment, construction equipment, people back there to do any kind of work. And with the leaving a 5-foot easement, I would suggest that would it, maybe to be a little more neighborly, to leave at least maybe 15 feet so that we would have access to that portion. I know they have some concerns because once upon a time there was some squatters there, but that has gone away. That probably will not happen again. The second concern I have is any changes to water or sewer lines. Right now, it is not affected, but I have, the sewer lines are going to go kind of on the halfway, like a third of my lot. My lot goes from St. Paul Street all the way back to what would have been that alley easement. So it butts up against that. And the sewer line, if it is being repaired or removed or whatever, there is no access to that. And then also, and same with the water lines. I think I'm hooked up though to water on the St. Paul side. And then zoning changes, I've heard that the new owners of that property on 16th Street that's requesting this vacation wants to put in a large building, a garage type, to do car repair works, and I'm afraid that it will turn into a business. and am concerned that there would be the zoning violations.
Ma'am, I'm sorry your time has ran out. To address some of your concerns, if there's any utilities, questions for staff, are there current utilities there now? Water, sewer?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
Okay, we're good. We had to reconnect. There is a water line in the Pleasant View Drive right-of-way in question, but it dead ends in that drive. It doesn't serve properties to the north. The speaker is right, with her property up against St. Paul, she gets water from St. Paul. There are sewer lines. Muhammad, can you go to the aerial map, please? I think the aerial map actually shows them. There you go. So the blue lines are water lines, and you can see the one in the highlighted area dead ends there and doesn't supply water to anybody farther north. There is a water line in St. Paul connected to those properties that face St. Paul. You can see the lime green line that runs on the east side of the lots that the applicants own, and then it jogs over and kind of runs through halfway through the backyards of the folks. None of these are being affected. The sewer line is not being affected because it's not in the highlighted area. There's no changes to the sewer line. Part of the discussion with Public Works and Utilities was related to the water line, and they were given requirements of what they would need to do to abandon a portion of the water line in the north 66-foot area in order for the vacation to be approved. And they were given requirements to hire a civil engineering firm to get the plans drawn up and all that. And they were agreeable to that, to abandon just the portion of the water line in the area they're looking to vacate now. But when it comes to utilities that actually serve other people's properties, there would be no effect.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, you asked the applicant to point out her property on the map.
Yes. Ma'am, there's a mouse on the deal. Could you point exactly where your property is?
This is my property.
Okay.
St. Paul Street, and it goes all the way back through here. And then also, a little bit further back. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it goes here. Yeah. It goes all the way to where this alleyway is.
Okay.
So the neighbor to my south, this property, my property, the neighbor next door to me up here, all go here. We have no way of getting to the backyard if there was an issue with a fire, electricity. I still say Evergy probably, if they gave an approval, maybe they only looked at this line and did not consider properties further north to see if there was any ownership, because there are cable lines, electricity lines going clear across this property.
Okay. The only thing we're concerned with, ma'am, to be honest with you, is where this area is here. That's not going to affect up there. It's just where we're looking at doing the vacation here.
My concern for me personally, knowing I really don't have a dog in the fight, but long-term, I feel that this is going to really become an issue and really be more of an expense to either the city or me.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this? If so, please come to the mic, state your name and address. Just remember, if you speak now, you will not be able to speak later on this. Please state your name and your address, and if you would you also use a cursor to point to where your property is located?
My property is 1708 right here, and 1714. I'm behind the house on 1714. I own the back lot. I have 3 consecutive lots right here that back up to this easement. There is, at the back of my lot, there is a pole there that services all the cables and
Ma'am, I need you to give your name and address, please.
My
for the
name
record.
is Connie M. Johnson. I live at 1708 North Custer, Wichita, Kansas, 67203. Been there since 2017.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Now you may go on.
I feel we haven't had any problems in that area except for when Mr. Watts was in the process of dying. They brought in the person that sat back there. None of us brought them in. We had no problem. Everybody I mowed the easement a lot of times for Mr. Watt because of his health, and I've known the family since '79. And I have a big RV in my backyard. That's how, I had to move my gate once before to vacate my lot. When you got a 30-foot RV, it's hard to swing out. If you have a fence down that easement where I can't get my RV out, I have a right. I think she wanted me to put my property, combine my property. I don't want to combine my property because if I want to sell that back lot off, I have the right to sell that back lot off, right? Do I not? Yeah, I bought that lot later, but I bought that lot because it was a rental house next to me for all these years that I've lived there. I've taken nothing but 11 dump trucks out of there because the renters did nothing but pile it up. Yeah, we used to have a fire station around the corner. We don't have a fire station around the corner no more. It used to be on the corner of 13th and St. Paul. We used to have a fire station. Now we don't. That's why I bought the property, because it would grow up so high that they wouldn't maintain it at the rental property. And the Watts and I all agreed that area that they have back there was nothing but a garden. And that's how like Alan on Custard, he has to get back there to clean his plumbing out. It is on his property. And I don't know, there is trees back there, but we've all maintained that through these years. We never had a problem with people coming back there in that area before, till whatever happened at the Watts property. And somehow there's a big problem with that Watt property.
Okay. Ma'am, your time is up. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else that have any questions for the lady? If not, is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this? Okay, sir, if you want to speak, come to the mic.
He was just,
What is,
hasn't been determined yet. It will be up to the board.
okay, yeah, we're in the process going to set that. Okay, so if there's nobody else, we don't have the agent or applicant, we'll bring it back to the board for your input. Commissioner Mader?
Question, are we allowed to act today without them making a presentation? Subdivision has heard this a couple of times.
I'm gonna
and acted on
defer
it.
to legal, but before I do, I'll just make a statement, and then that way they can correct me, as always. If you approve it as was applied for by the applicant, then I think you can take action. If you do anything other than that, other than deferring it, then I believe you want to wait until you can get the applicant to be here. And I'll further state that the reason for that is it's an issue of fairness and just letting the applicant have an opportunity to provide their perspective and respond.
Best practice would be a deferral, since they requested deferral before the meeting started, and it has not been deferred for MAPC.
They requested deferral. Who's they?
My apologies. The applicant contacted MAPC this morning and requested a deferral, is my understanding.
Well,
That's
it'd
new
been nice to
information.
know
Thank
that
you.
ahead of time. We could avoid a lot of this.
I think Sam has an update, if I could, sir.
Okay, can you go to the mic, please, so we got you on record?
just for clarification, the applicant did not contact us this morning. I contacted the applicant asking if they would be at the meeting right as the meeting was starting, and they indicated they would not be able to, and asked if it could be moved.
Okay, so when's the next hard date that we could defer to what?
The next planning commission is March 26th.
I move to defer to March 26th.
We have a motion of deferral to March 26th. And we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we're going to defer to March 26th for those in the audience.
Yes, sir. 1:30 PM, this room. Yep.
Okay, that's going to bring us back to the public hearing. First case that we're going to be hearing on that would be
We're up to 4.3.
4.3. It's a conditional use 2026-0023. Well, no, it wasn't 4.3. That's one that's been deferred. Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to be listening to, whether it's going to defer or not. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to, this may be after the fact, but because the subdivision approved it 4-0, if there's any comment any of those members would like to make, so the rest of us could hear it, why you did it 4-0.
Tony, would you like to comment on that?
I said, because we're not hearing it, and we're gonna hear it again next time, is there anything that, why you approved it 4-0 in subdivision, that we should know before we hear it again the next time? That you guys discussed?
I guess I asked Philip, will this come before the subdivision committee again then?
No, it's just,
That's the reason why I'm asking.
Okay. I don't think so, John. I think it'd be fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we will hear 4.3. Christina?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present CON 2026-23. The applicant for this case is requesting a conditional use to allow an accessory apartment. The property is zoned 2-family residential, and it's located at 2044 North Fairview Avenue. It's currently developed with a 788 square foot single-family house and a 2-story 30-foot by 30-foot accessory structure constructed in 2025. The applicant is requesting this conditional use to bring the accessory structure in which the accessory apartment is located into compliance. So a bit of a background on this. So according to a representative from the Metropolitan Area Building and Construction Department, the applicant submitted plans to remove the existing garage on site and replace it with another 1-story 2-car garage, and this was back in October of 2024. Upon completion, the MABCD inspector noticed that the garage was 2 stories in height and had living quarters. And so we define living quarters as places for sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation, and that would be on the 2nd floor. This went to the District Advisory Board this past Monday, and during that meeting, we found out that the structure is 23 feet in height, and that's measured from the midpoint from the peak of the roof. And so they have the option of a filing for an administrative adjustment to bring the height of the garage into compliance. So the site plan shows that the accessory structure is 5 feet from the rear property line and 3 feet from each side setback. Without a survey, it is unknown the exact location of the structure in relation to the property lines. Fence lines cannot be assumed as the actual property line. And so this is why we are requesting a deferral, is because we don't have that exact information. Accessory apartments are subject to Section 3D6A of the Unified Zoning Code. There's a list of 4 regulations that are listed in your staff report. And then accessory apartments are also required to comply with property development standards that are listed in Section 3D7E2 of the Unified Zoning Code, and those setbacks are also listed in your staff report. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential. To the north, south, east, and west, we have single-family residences. And then property to the west is the only one not zoned TF3, it's zoned MF29. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. The proposed use is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as appropriate for residential uses, so this includes an accessory apartment. The plan has locational guidelines that provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. In general, development should occur where necessary supporting infrastructure and services exist or are planned for extension concurrently with the development. The accessory apartment will share utilities with the principal structure and where infrastructure and services already exist. The requested conditional use is also in conformance with the Wichita Places for People Plan. The Places for People Plan outlines a list of strategies intended to help guide the community in their actions and create walkable places within Wichita. Strategy 5 aims to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. Strategy 6 is to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. So based on the information available at the time the staff report was prepared, we are recommending that the conditional use case be deferred to May 14th, 2026. And then we would ask that the applicant provide survey documentation by April 30th of this year. And this would just confirm the actual height of the structure and the distance between the structure and all property lines. You do have the option of recommending approval of this item. Staff, we've provided our own sets of conditions and findings. The first is that the applicant shall provide survey documentation. The accessory apartment shall remain an accessory to and under the same ownership at 2204 North Fairview Avenue. Development of the site shall be in conformance with the approved site plan. The appearance of the accessory structure shall be compatible with the existing primary structure. Water and sewer have to be connected. Electric, gas, telephone, and cable utility services may be separate. The applicant will have to obtain a new building permit to bring the existing structure into compliance. And if the zoning administrator finds that there is a violation of any of these conditions, they have the authority in concurrence with the planning director to declare the conditional use null and void. So this recommendation is based on the golden rules, which are listed in your staff report. And at the time the staff report is prepared and to today, I have not received any public comment on the requested conditional use. So with that, I'll go to some of the site photos. This is looking east towards the site, towards the principal structure, and then the roof in the back is actually part of the accessory structure. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site, up North Fairview Avenue. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site, across the street from North Fairview. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking east towards the proposed accessory apartment. This is taken from on the other side of the house. Next slide, please. This is looking west towards the site, towards the back of the principal structure. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the side of the house. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos, and with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Williamsbury?
Christina, they did have a permit to build the accessory structure to begin with, didn't they?
Yes, they did obtain a building permit, and in their site plan with the building permit, they said it was 5 feet from the fence and 3 feet from either fence, and they called those the property lines.
Okay, so there's been no real verification as to where the property lines actually are.
That's correct.
Okay, thank
Yeah, Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, what am I looking at here on the aerial like this? I see 2 cars. Is that an old photo, and then the shadow is where the roof line is? I didn't know if we had cars on the roof or what.
No, there was previously a concrete parking pad on site, and then they constructed the accessory structure on top of the concrete parking pad.
So we don't know whether or not there's proper footings underneath there to support the structure or any of that.
I will defer to the applicant to see if they've provided proper footings for the structure.
Okay.
Christina, can you clarify the building permit, whether or not it was for a single story or a 2-story structure?
The building permit was for a single-story structure.
It just kept growing.
Christina, Is there anything that says, I mean, to me, it appears that this structure, this accessory dwelling is bigger than the initial dwelling. Is there anything that regulates whether or not an accessory structure can be larger than the initial dwelling?
There's not a specific rule on that. There are rules on like maximum lot coverage for accessory structures. As part of the conditions for the accessory apartment, it has to be compatible with the existing structure. But there's not really a steadfast rule that says it has to be smaller than the primary structure.
Any additional questions or comments from commission? Is the agent or applicant here?
Good afternoon, Jose Raimundo at 2044 North Fairview. And I am willing to take a survey and answer any questions.
Were you just here recently for another case with that we had here recently? No, okay, sorry. I've got a quick question. When, on the slab itself, was there footings done before the slab was poured? Or did you just go ahead and do a 4 or 6 inch slab?
Sí había medidas, ¿eh? Antes de que... I'm translating, sorry. This is my father, Jose.
Understood.
Sí había medidas antes de que echaron el concreto. Sí. There was measurements under before the concrete was poured.
Okay, was that inspected and signed off on by,
Yes.
do you have any copies of that, that you can give to staff?
Yeah, I believe so. Just one moment. Espérate. Aquí donde está mezclado. ¿Dónde está el inspector? One moment.
No, the inspector no lo tengo.
I'll tell you what we can do is while you're doing that, we can go ahead and proceed on this. Does anyone else have any questions for the gentleman on this? Commissioner Mader?
I understand that it's been declared an accessory structure because it is livable. So does it have plumbing in it, sewer?
Yes.
And you are tapped into the city sewer with that is attached to the sewer?
Yes.
And electrical, is it a separate electrical or electrical off the home?
Está junto con el... One moment. They are united from the original structure.
Okay,
of the house.
okay. I guess I'm curious how that sewer got tapped. If it wasn't on any permits, but, okay. There's quite a few construction problems there that go way beyond what we're talking about.
Yep.
Well, again, a building permit was pulled, so they had some authority to do that, but the permit was for a single-story structure.
Okay, got it. Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Wisby.
Question for staff. Since this is, we're asking for a deferral on this, would it be possible to have someone from Central Inspection here next time?
Yes, we can request that someone from MABCD attend.
Yeah, thank you.
If you would, could you make sure that staff has a copy of all your paperwork regarding the inspections and the sign off on your footing and everything, all the other steps that was taking place to where you want, I'm getting where you're at right now.
Yes.
Commissioner Zimmelman?
There were a couple of inspectors here before we started. I assume they were supposed to be part of this case. They weren't. Well, it'd be pretty nice if the next time they would be here to answer some questions.
Those are related to the county case, and they actually would not have information about this one. Yeah.
I just would like to have the inspectors that looked at this apartment here.
Okay. Well, based on the information we have so far, thank you. Appreciate your comments. I'm gonna bring it back to the board. I think what we need to do is go ahead and with staff recommendations to defer this back to May 14th.
Chair, are we going to open for public comment?
Oh, sorry. Is there anybody else from the public who'd like to speak on this? Seeing none, now I'll bring it back. I think that we need, again, to defer this to May 14th to give staff plenty of time to get the information that they're needing, and staff can make the recommendations to the applicant and exactly what they need to do to prepare for the May 14th meeting.
So moved.
All signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. This will be deferred to May 14th. That was 4-3. The next agenda item that we have is 4.6 would be DER 2025-0015, Unified Zone Code amendments to the public notifications regarding the mail requirements.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Momita Kundu, and I'll be presenting DER case 2025-15 and pertaining to the Unified Zoning Code amendments to public zoning notification letters in this city. Can I have the next slide, please? The recommended action is to approve the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code regarding the changes to the public notification in the city and recommend adoption by the Wichita City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. So I'll go through the topics, how it came up, and what's the background on this. There has been interest expressed at the District Advisory Board meetings to review the public notification practices related to the zoning cases. In response to that, the City Council requested the planning staff to explore the topic for potential changes and Unified Zoning Code amendments. The planning staff had responded to that request, and by exploring the topic with the MAPC Advanced Plan Committee. Can I go to the next slide, please? Next slide. This item has been discussed at several points from 2023 at Advanced Plan Committee and DAB meetings. Here is a timeline of the process till date. On November 26th, 2024, the planning staff presented to the Wichita City Council workshop to share the feedback they received from the Advanced Plan Committee meetings and the district advisory boards. At that time, the general consensus was a preference for public notifications to be sent not only to the property's owner's mailing addresses, but also to the actual property address when those two are different. Can I get to the next slide, please? So recently, on November 18th, 2025, the staff presented the draft changes at the Board of County Commissioners staff meeting. And the general consensus at the meeting was to make no changes to the county notification practices. On January 15, the staff returned to the MAPC Advanced Plan Committee meeting and proposed the UGC zoning changes pertaining to the public notification in the city to the Advanced Plans Committee members. And the committee voted to recommend approval with stipulations to ensure applicability is limited to the city addresses only. The item is scheduled to be heard at the Wichita City Council on April 14th and on May 6th at the BOCC meeting. Next slide, please. To better understand how other jurisdictions approach zoning case notification, the staff contacted 19 other communities in Kansas and other neighboring states. The key findings include that none of the jurisdictions contacted currently send zoning notices to the tenants or occupants when those differ from the owner's mailing address. All rely solely on the property ownership information from the tax records. Next slide, please. However, the staff also reviewed the national best practices. A May 2024 American Planning Association publication encourages communities to consider broader notification practices, particularly in areas with higher rental population. The AP acknowledges the increased cost, but frames these changes as steps towards improving the procedural equity and community engagement. Can I have the next slide, please? Let's go through the current or existing process of public notifications in the city. Next slide, please. There are a variety of ways that the people can receive notification about zoning cases. Some of these are required and some not, but in today's presentation, I'll only focus on the zoning notification letters, which is required by the Kansas state statute. Next slide, please. As per current practice, the notification letters are based solely on owner mailing addresses to notify property owners about the time, place, and general description of the zoning cases. Next slide, please. The letters are sent out to the following people and organizations. The notification distances varies by location and property size. In the city, it ranges from 200 feet to 1,000 feet, depending on the acreage of the site. Next slide, please. Under the current practice, the applicants are responsible for purchasing a certified ownership list from a title company. This requirement is established by an MAPD application process and would remain unchanged with this proposed UGC changes. Next slide, please. As the overwhelming majority of the certified address lists comes from the Security First title company, staff contacted them to assess the pricing. Under the existing practice, the applicants only pay $18 per property for a certified ownership list with a minimum cost of $175 for up to 10 addresses. Separately, the planning department incurs an operational cost, which is estimated to be about $2.64, which includes staff time, postage, paper, envelope, and others. Next slide, please. So I'll now move on to the proposed updates to the Unified Zoning Code. Next slide, please. Based on the feedback received and the staff analysis, the proposed amendment would require public notification to be mailed to two locations. First, to the property owner's mailing address, and secondly, to the property addresses itself if it's different from the former. This requirement would apply to cases initiated within the city of Wichita only, and for properties located within the city limits. It is important to clarify at this point that the amendment does not require staff to identify or contact individual tenants. For multi-unit properties, the notice would be only mailed to the property and not to the individual tenants. Staff believes that the approach would provide a more reasonable balance by improving the transparency and equity, and also making it manageable for the staff as well. Next slide, please. As mentioned in the earlier slide, for applicants, the existing cost to purchase the certified ownership list is $18. The additional research needed to include the physical address would add approximately $5 per property for a potential cost of $23 per property. For city, the operational cost remains the same per property, which is $2.64. As expected, overall costs increase as the number of additional properties notified increases. Next slide, please. So this is how different the sample ownership list would look like. The one on your right is the sample certified ownership list provided by the Security First title company. And this would include two separate columns with property address and the property owner's mailing address. In cases where they are same, both same, then it would also include that text which says that it's same as the property owner's mailing address. Next slide, please. So this slide shows a snapshot of the UGC code language, and this is attached to your packet materials as well. The highlighted text reflects the proposed changes. The text in red were incorporated as per the MAPC Advanced Plan Committee's recommendation, and it clearly emphasizes that this amendment applies only to the zoning cases initiated within the city of Wichita and applicable to only properties located within city of Wichita. There are no proposed changes to the county notification requirements, and as I said, the full draft code is in the packet materials for your review. Next slide, please. Let's move on to the administrative considerations of this proposed changes. To make the process manageable for the staff and ensure equitable and transparent notifications, under this proposed expanded notification, letters for cases initiated within the city would be mailed to all property addresses located within the city of Wichita. In addition, notifications would also be sent to the addresses located in unincorporated Sedgwick County that lists Wichita as their mailing address city. Next slide, please. This situation, as I said, the addresses which contains Wichita as the mailing city address in portions of unincorporated county occurs because sometimes these addresses are assigned on the basis of the school district boundary rather than city boundaries. The properties located within the Wichita Public School US 259 may have Wichita mailing address even though they are outside the city limits. Here's a map of the USD 259 with respect to the city limits. And those addresses are included within this proposed expanded notification. So historically, the planning department staff has taken the approach of over notification rather than under notification to ensure that everybody gets notified about the zoning cases. And next slide, please. I'm sorry about the typo. The recommended action over here is to recommend approval of the proposed update to the Wichita City Council and Board of County Commissioners. I will stand for any questions at this point.
Thank you for your presentation, appreciate it. Is there any questions for staff on this? If not, just a clarification, and I'm sure you probably already said it or not, but this only pertains to the city on the mailing notifications, not the county.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner McKay?
Following up with what Bob just said, staff, tell me how the school zones or school districts are going to react back and forth because there's overlap, especially in the Northwest.
Can you rephrase it maybe? You asked about the school districts and how they're going to react?
No, I'm saying, how do they work to get, basically, you said it's only for the city of Wichita, but then you said school districts with school districts.
Yeah, we'll let Momita go through that.
Yeah, Mohammed, can we go to the slide which had the USD 259 map, please? I think it's slide number 22. Yes, thank you. So, so there are addresses within the Sedgwick County, unincorporated Sedgwick County, which has Wichita as their mailing city addresses, because sometimes the addresses are assigned according to the school district boundary, rather than as it's not within any city limits, so it addresses whichever USD district is it in. So in case of USD 259, it would state as mostly as Wichita as the mailing city address. Scott, I'll let you have it.
Yeah, Momita, do you want to take the cursor and maybe show point out some of the areas where that might apply?
Mohammed, can you move to the next slide, please? So this is a zoomed in version of the same map. This shows the USD 259. So all the areas, I think within these ones, which are, this one is the unincorporated Sedgwick County, which is outside the city limits, but still within the USD 259, and they carries the mailing addresses of Wichita as the city, although the staff noted that there aren't too many addresses within those areas, so it's limited. Philip, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I'll elaborate. So it still applies only to the city. So maybe if you put your cursor down more to the southeast portion of the city of Wichita, keep going down. So if an application in the city comes in to where it's right on the border between the city of Wichita and unincorporated Sedgwick County, and so the ownership list goes outside the city limits, which it is required to, all of those properties outside the city limits will also have a Wichita address because they're within the Wichita School District. To essentially reduce the burden on staff to try to splice out which ones are actually within city limits and which ones are in the unincorporated Sedgwick County, the decision was to mail to everything with a Wichita address. Because if you're in unincorporated Sedgwick County here down in the southern area where her cursor is, and you're in the green where the 260 is, if you're in the county, your address is Derby because you're in the Derby School District. So those addresses would not be mailed to. It's only if you have a Wichita mailing address if you're in the county because you're also in the Wichita School District. It really has nothing to do with the school district. It was just a matter of a lot of times addresses are based on your school district when you're in the county. And so if you have a city application where the ownership list goes into the county and those county properties have Wichita addresses because of their school district, they will get a letter. But if the application originates in the county, the requirement isn't there. So say you're in the very southeast portion of Sedgwick County where everything's dark yellow and there's no city limits nearby, we're going to just mail to the property owner because we know we're in the county. We know none of those are in the city limits. It's more so if a city application crosses over into the county, you need to make sure. We just don't know which ones are in the city limits and which ones are not.
Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Warren?
I'll make sure I understand this. If you had a situation where a property was in the county, but had a Wichita address, would we have any jurisdiction over the property in the county? Let's say that somebody built something, or was wanting to change the zoning, and it's got a Wichita address, but it's a Derby School District property, so it shows up on the list. We don't.
I think the important factor for this one would be where's the case originating? Where is the applicant property at? And in this case, the requirement to mail to also the property owner and the property address only comes up if it's first of all, if the application is in the city of Wichita. But the reason why we're talking about this is because there's the potential for a case to be on the edge of the city of Wichita case on the edge of the city limits, and the notification area would spill over into the unincorporated county. And in those instances where there is a spillover into the unincorporated county and that those unincorporated county property addresses indicate Wichita because they're in the Wichita School District area, we're just saying, hey, our process, our proposal is that they would get the extra notification as well. And the reason why is just because of the difficulty that it would create for staff to have to go through. At this point, we would just look at the mailing labels, and if it said Wichita, we'd just send them out. If we didn't do it that way, then there would be difficulty because we would have to get on GIS and verify that each of those properties is either in the unincorporated county or in the city. So the end result at the end of the day is just there would be some properties in the unincorporated county that might have a letter that goes to both the property owner and the property address, assuming the owner doesn't live at the property.
But you would pick up if somebody came in and they are in the unincorporated area but have a Wichita address, you don't take them as a project because they're not in the city limits of Wichita.
We would take them as a project if they're doing a zone change because they would be in the unincorporated county. They fall in Sedgwick County, so you all see the county cases. So yeah, just as a clarification, yes, it would stay the same process from that regard. It's only for the notification for city cases that we're talking about it changed.
Okay, any additional questions, comments? If not, want me to thank you. I appreciate it very much for your presentation. Next agenda item would, oh, excuse me.
The recommended
excuse
action,
me.
please.
Okay, so now what we need to do is take the, staff is recommending that we do adopt the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code and send it to the city and the Board of County Commissioners for approval. So do we have a motion to do exactly that?
So moved.
And we have motions or a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. That'd be 8-0.
Thank you so much.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to move it a little quicker. Oh, look here, it's time to go home. Next agenda item is 4-7. This is the comprehensive plan amendment pertaining to urban scale density in the unincorporated Sedgwick County. Justin?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commissioners. Justin Constantino with the Planning Department, here to talk about a comprehensive plan amendment to the locational guidelines. Next slide, please. So the recommended action is to review the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan and recommend adoption to both the City Council and to the Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. In my presentation, I'll do a brief overview of the comprehensive plan. It's a document that you all know very well. I will go into the background and about what prompted this discussion, the initiation from the Board of County Commissioners. I will briefly discuss the recommended amendments. It's just a text amendment to the locational guidelines. And then I will discuss about what happens from here at the approval process. Next slide, please. So the comprehensive plan was adopted by the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County in 2015 and 2016 respectively. Unlike the Unified Zoning Code, which is more of a regulatory document, the comprehensive plan is a guide for future growth in the City of Wichita and Sedgwick County. It sets overall community investment priorities, provides decision-making framework to guide future public infrastructure, and that it also includes the locational guidelines, which is really the decision-making framework for future land use changes. And that's the section that we're really going to home in on during this discussion. Next slide, please. So a little bit of background with rezoning applications. Since 2020, the Board of County Commissioners has considered multiple rezoning applications to permit uses that would not occur without water and sewer services. So during that those rezoning application reviews, applicants indicated that they would be seeking an annexation into an adjoining municipality following the zoning decision by the Board of County Commissioners. And that somewhat prompted a desire from both the Board of County Commissioners and staff for some policy and guidance regarding this. Planning staff has noted that there's not really currently any formal guidance to help inform the staff recommendation to the MAPC regarding what an acceptable level of zoning is in the unincorporated county. Next slide, please. So back on January 21st, the Board of County Commissioners initiated a comprehensive plan amendment, which is why we're discussing this item today. At the time, they were reviewing a zoning case that was located in the City of Park City urban growth area, and it was a zoning case, and they knew that there would be an annexation of that property into the City of Park City immediately following their zoning their zoning choice, I guess, their zoning action. Thank you.
Before they annexed it, or the zoning, it had to be annexed, is what it.
Right. So it was indicated that the City of Park City was going to be annexing that property and then likely taking a zoning action thereafter. And the county asked the question, why are we taking a zoning action when essentially our decision will be nullified and then it will be going to the City of Park City shortly thereafter. So that is what prompted their request to have staff look into potential language that might assist with those types of cases going forward. Next slide, please. So what we did was we made a text amendment to the locational guidelines in the land use compatibility section regarding rural area. So what the text amendment says This is new text in section D that we would be adding, saying that zoning that would allow urban scale density and require municipal services for development is not appropriate in the unincorporated areas of Sedgwick County, including in the urban growth areas. In these situations, applicants are encouraged to seek annexation prior to submitting a change of zoning classification application. Next slide, please. This is what the process looks like. Currently, it is at the MAPC, and you will be making a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners and City Council. I will also note that the text change, while it is it's intended to be used as a guide. So really, this text change will not prohibit zoning applications. Instead, the language is intended to assist with the evaluation of these types of requests and give staff some additional guidance going into those staff reports. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none. Anybody from the general public would like to hear on this? If not, we'll bring it back to the commission for your pleasure. The recommended action is that the MAPC committee recommends approval for the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan regarding the changes in land use capability section of the future land use policies and recommend adoption by the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. If everybody concurs, do we have a motion?
I move we take the recommended action.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any non-public items we need to hear? Seeing from nobody at all. We don't have anything else on the agenda. We are done. Thank you.
Congratulations to the new elected officers.
Oh, yeah. Just get warmed up.
If I could, I do want to just let everyone know there is a listening session, a listening town hall that's taking place that the county commission is sponsoring for data centers. And that is going to be at the Sedgwick County Extension Center at 6 o'clock tonight. It will probably go pretty late, so if you can't stop by at 6 and you want to catch it, you can always do that later on too.
Also, a doodle poll was sent out regarding a special meeting that we're looking to schedule regarding a solar application. So if you have not taken the doodle poll, it's fairly time sensitive. We need to get this application on the books to get scheduled. So please take the doodle poll to let us know your availability for a special meeting towards the end of April. Yes, I think we have multiple emails for you, Ms. Miles. Shocking, I know. What email?
If you want to do it right, we can actually just.
Sure, we could pull it up on a computer, yeah.
Just come.
Oh, really?
Recording stopped.